You were never meant for a normal life. The calling on you is uncommon, and so is the path. What if I told you that the cycles of pain and limitation in your family were never meant to define you? God has sent you as the interrupter, breaking free from what held others back. This isn't just another message. It's a divine appointment tailored for you. If you're feeling the weight of repeated struggles, know that you're here for a reason. Your breakthrough starts today, as God positions you to shatter those chains. You are not a victim of your history or mistakes. You're a breaker of chains. God has destined you to create a legacy of freedom and abundance. The cycles you've endured have only refined you for greater things. As Jeremiah 29:11 declares, God has plans to prosper you, not to harm you. You were chosen before time to interrupt the old and pioneer the new. Here's the powerful truth. God sent you to interrupt cycles of defeat and build something eternal. It's not about escaping your past. It's about rewriting it for future generations. Cycles like addiction or broken relationships may seem unbreakable, but God equips you. Your obedience unlocks doors to a legacy that echoes through eternity. As 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, in Christ, the old has gone and the new is here. God is calling you to be that new creation, shattering the past to establish His promises. Number 1, before you can interrupt the cycle, you must name it and claim your authority over it. In Psalm 139:23-24, David prays for God to search his heart and reveal any offensive ways. This shows that recognizing hidden patterns is the first act of divine wisdom. Start by journaling your family's history or your personal habits, what repeats in your life. Then, declare aloud that God is exposing it for your breakthrough. If you felt trapped in the same failures, naming the cycle is your courageous first step. It's not admitting defeat. It's the key God uses to propel you toward victory. Number 2, God's power within you is greater than any cycle you've inherited. Tap into it and watch the chains shatter before your eyes. Ephesians 6:10 urges you to be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. This reminds us that our battles aren't fought alone. God's strength interrupts the unbreakable. In your daily routine, replace old habits with faith-filled actions like daily prayer. Use affirmations of God's promises to actively break the cycle. You may have carried the weight of generational pain, but God sees your tears. He's saying, I sent you to end this. Rise up and claim your freedom. Number 3, interrupting the cycle isn't enough. You must create a legacy by living out God's vision. Proverbs 13:22 states that a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. This highlights that your actions today shape a godly legacy for tomorrow. Begin small. Mentor someone in your family or start a project that honors God. Make choices that reflect abundance instead of scarcity in your life. If you've wondered if your life matters beyond the struggles, know this. God wired you to smash cycles. Your mark will inspire generations to come. Number 4. Your legacy is secured when you commit to sustaining the change with unwavering faith. Hebrews 10:36 encourages you to persevere so you can receive what God has promised. Perseverance turns interruption into lasting impact. Create a legacy journal to track your progress and pray daily for strength. Turn faith into a habit that guards against old cycles returning. In moments of doubt, when patterns try to pull you back, remember, God sent you for this. Your faithfulness today will echo as a legacy of hope and triumph. You might start noticing prophetic signs, like recurring dreams of new beginnings. These are God confirming your role as a cycle breaker. Unexpected opportunities could feel like divine nudges guiding your path. As you step into this truth, feel the shift in the spiritual atmosphere. Chains are breaking, doors are opening, and a surge of energy is propelling you forward. Unseen forces are aligning you with your divine purpose. Right now, it's time to take immediate faith-based steps. Comment "I'm interrupting the cycle" below to join a community of legacy creators. God is moving. Don't miss your moment to act. Take 5 minutes to pray and ask God to reveal any cycles in your life. Declare aloud, "I am sent to create a legacy of your glory." This simple act activates your divine purpose and sets change in motion. Imagine your family line free from old burdens and filled with wealth and wisdom. Because you interrupted the cycle, generations will experience God's favor. Picture open doors, restored relationships, and a legacy that stands tall. As Isaiah 58:12 promises, you will be called the repairer of broken walls. This is your breakthrough, a life of overflow and eternal impact. Envision transformed relationships where love and trust flourish. Financial stability will flow as you walk in obedience. Your spiritual influence will inspire others to break their own cycles. The generational impact will be profound and lasting. God affirms that His promises for you are unchanging and powerful. You are God's interrupter, chosen to break cycles and craft a legacy. Never doubt that your story is rewriting history for the better. As you reflect on this message, trust in God's perfect timing. Keep moving forward with confidence in your divine calling. Your legacy is already in motion, waiting to unfold. Victory is yours as you embrace this truth. Remember, the path may be uncommon, but it's designed just for you. Every struggle you've faced has been preparation for this moment. God sees the potential in you that others might overlook. You're not alone in this journey. Divine support surrounds you. Take a deep breath and feel the empowerment rising within. The cycles that once bound you are losing their grip. You're stepping into a realm of endless possibilities. Affirm daily, "I am chosen to interrupt and create." Watch as small changes lead to monumental shifts. Your family will thank you for the legacy you build. Friends and community will be inspired by your transformation. Biblical heroes like David faced cycles too, but they rose above. Just as he did, you can turn setbacks into triumphs. God's word is your weapon against recurring patterns. Speak life into your situation every single day. Envision the joy of seeing your children free from past chains. Feel the peace that comes from knowing your purpose. The Holy Spirit is guiding you toward lasting change. Don't hesitate, take that first step today. Your obedience will unlock blessings beyond measure. Remember, you're part of a greater story. God's plan for you is full of hope and restoration. Interrupt the cycle by choosing faith over fear. Create a legacy that reflects God's love and power. You're not defined by your past, but by your potential. Stand firm, for God is with you in every step. The future you're building will inspire many. Trust that every effort counts toward your legacy. As you move forward, feel the divine encouragement lifting you. Your story is one of victory, written by God's hand. Go forth and live out the uncommon path He has set for you. In the quiet moments of reflection, recognize that your arrival in this world was a deliberate divine strategy to halt the recurring patterns of despair. Every challenge you faced is not a random occurrence but a forge, shaping you into the vessel meant to disrupt inherited limitations. Picture the unseen hand of God orchestrating your steps, positioning you as the pivotal figure in a lineage of transformation. Your story isn't defined by the shadows of the past. It's illuminated by the purpose God assigned before your first breath. As cycles of struggle attempt to bind you, remember that your essence carries the power to rewrite narratives for generations ahead. The divine spark within you ignites when you acknowledge your role as the interrupter of long-standing familial chains. Through faith's lens, view your trials as the necessary prelude to unveiling a legacy that echoes eternal truths. God's blueprint for your life includes breaking the molds that confined your ancestors, freeing you to innovate and inspire. In moments of doubt, lean into the assurance that you were selected to pivot from stagnation to profound, lasting impact. Your journey embodies the shift from mere survival to thriving, as God equips you with tools to dismantle and rebuild. Embrace the truth that your existence is a testament to divine intervention, designed to alter the course of history. The cycles that once felt inescapable are now opportunities for you to demonstrate God's redemptive power. With each step forward, you're not just living, you're crafting a narrative that future generations will celebrate. God's timing in your life reveals itself through the very obstacles that test your resolve, preparing you for victory. As you stand at the crossroads, know that your decision to interrupt the cycle aligns perfectly with divine destiny. The weight of generational burdens lifts when you claim your identity as God's chosen agent of change. In the tapestry of your life, Every thread of hardship weaves into a masterpiece of legacy and liberation. Your spirit resonates with the call to break free, echoing the promises God has etched into your soul. Recognize that the patterns seeking to repeat are no match for the authority God has vested in you. Through prayer and perseverance, transform what was meant to break you into the foundation of your enduring legacy. God's vision for you transcends personal gain, extending to a ripple effect that blesses multitudes. In the realm of the Spirit, your awakening signals the end of old cycles and the dawn of innovative creation. The Scriptures affirm your selection, reminding you that God's plans are for prosperity, not perpetual struggle. As you identify and confront these cycles, you're stepping into the fullness of your divine assignment. Your legacy begins with the bold act of declaring freedom over areas long dominated by repetition and regret. God's power flows through you, turning whispers of doubt into shouts of triumphant breakthrough. In the face of inherited challenges, your faith becomes the catalyst for irreversible, positive change. Every prayer uttered in sincerity fortifies your resolve, equipping you to shatter the illusions of inevitability. The biblical narratives of deliverance mirror your path, urging you to embrace your role as a modern-day liberator. As you apply God's word to your circumstances, watch as the cycles dissolve, making way for fresh opportunities. Your emotional resilience, honed through trials, positions you to build a legacy rooted in hope and healing. Divine strength surges within, empowering you to replace old habits with habits of holiness and purpose. In the quiet pursuit of God's will, discover the keys to unlocking a future untainted by past repetitions. Your actions today, inspired by faith, lay the groundwork for a legacy that inspires and uplifts. Through intentional choices, transform the energy of past pains into the momentum for generational blessings. God's promise in Scripture serves as your blueprint, guiding you from interruption to the establishment of enduring impact. As you mentor and guide others, you're actively weaving the threads of your legacy into the fabric of society. The cycles you break create space for abundance, allowing God's vision to manifest in tangible, life-changing ways. In moments of weariness, draw from the well of divine encouragement, sustaining your journey toward legacy. Your commitment to faith ensures that the changes you initiate are not fleeting but foundational. Prophetic signs emerge as gentle confirmations, like serendipitous encounters that align with your purpose. In the spiritual realm, shifts occur subtly, signaling God's active role in fortifying your path to freedom. As you attune to these mystical elements, feel the alignment of unseen forces propelling you forward. Dreams and intuitions become divine whispers, guiding you to disrupt cycles and embrace your legacy. The energy of transformation surrounds you, breaking old barriers and inviting new possibilities into your life. God's prophetic touch reveals itself in everyday wonders, affirming your status as a cycle interrupter. In the dance of destiny, recognize the subtle cues that mark the beginning of your legacy's unfoldment. Spiritual awakenings manifest as inner peace, even amidst chaos, signaling God's endorsement of your mission. As cycles fracture, a new spiritual energy infuses your days, charging you with purpose and passion. Prophetic imagery in your life paints a vivid picture of the legacy God intends for you to create. Take the first step now by declaring your intent to break free from the chains that have held you back. Engage in daily affirmations that reinforce your divine calling, turning words into weapons against stagnation. Build a community of support by sharing your journey, inviting others to join in this spiritual revolution. In prayer, seek God's revelation of hidden cycles and commit to actions that dismantle them permanently. Let your faith drive immediate changes, such as adopting routines that honor God's plan for your life. Respond to this call by journaling your breakthroughs, creating a record of your evolving legacy. Challenge yourself to act on God's prompts, transforming passive belief into active, legacy-building faith. Through simple declarations, activate the power within you to interrupt and overcome. Envision a future where your family thrives in freedom, unencumbered by the cycles you've shattered. Picture financial stability flowing through generations, a direct result of your courageous interruptions. In this vision, relationships are restored and strengthened, fostering a legacy of love and unity. God's promises assure you of spiritual influence that extends far beyond your lifetime. As you persist, watch doors open to opportunities that multiply your impact and blessings. The reward is a life of overflow, where abundance in every area reflects your obedience to God's call. Generational healing becomes your hallmark, with future descendants celebrating your pivotal role. Biblical affirmations paint a glorious picture of your breakthrough, promising restoration and renewal. In this future glory, your legacy stands as a beacon, guiding others toward their own divine paths. God's favor manifests as unwavering support, ensuring your efforts yield eternal fruits. Envision the joy of seeing your actions ripple into a world transformed by your faith-driven choices. Your breakthrough includes not just personal victory, but a widespread influence that honors God. As you embrace this vision, feel the assurance that every step forward secures your divine reward. Reaffirm your identity as God's chosen one, destined to interrupt cycles and forge a path of legacy. In the certainty of God's promises, find the strength to persevere through any remaining challenges. Your story is one of redemption, where past struggles pave the way for triumphant creation. Trust in the divine timing that aligns your efforts with God's perfect plan for interruption and impact. As you reflect on this message, let it ignite a fire of purpose within your spirit. God's unchanging nature guarantees that your legacy is already in motion, waiting to unfold. Embrace the empowerment that comes from knowing you are an integral part of God's grand design. In moments of uncertainty, hold fast to the truth that victory is assured for those He has sent. Your faith, nurtured through this journey, becomes the cornerstone of a legacy that endures. Reaffirm daily that you are equipped to break cycles, creating ripples of positive change. God's encouragement surrounds you, reminding you that every obstacle is a stepping stone to glory. As you move forward, carry the assurance that your actions are rewriting history for the better. In the quiet assurance of divine support, step boldly into the legacy God has prepared for you. Your role as an interrupter is not temporary. It's a lifelong calling that yields eternal rewards. Reflect on the progress you've made, allowing it to fuel your continued pursuit of purpose. God's plan for you is flawless, ensuring that your legacy will inspire and uplift many. In this affirmation, find the peace that comes from aligning with your divine assignment. Trust that every prayer and action draws you closer to the fulfillment of God's promises. Your spirit, now awakened, propels you toward a future rich in legacy and fulfillment. As you internalize this truth, let it transform your perspective on past and present challenges. God's encouragement is a constant companion, guiding you through the process of creation and change. In the tapestry of your life, each thread of faith weaves into a masterpiece of legacy. Reaffirm your commitment to this path, knowing that God's strength sustains you every step. Your journey from interruption to legacy is a testament to God's unwavering faithfulness. Embrace the empowerment that flows from recognizing your unique place in God's story. In reflection, celebrate the victories already won, anticipating even greater ones ahead. God's promises are your anchor, securing your path toward a profound and lasting impact. As you trust in divine guidance, watch your legacy blossom into something extraordinary. Your identity as God's sent one empowers you to face any cycle with confidence and grace. In this spiritual encouragement, find the resolve to persist and prevail. Reaffirm that your efforts are not in vain. They are seeds for a harvest of legacy. God's timing ensures that every interruption leads to a beautifully crafted future. As you conclude this reflection, step forward with the assurance of divine approval. Your legacy, born from faith and action, will stand as a beacon of hope for all time. In the shadows of inherited struggles, a divine spark ignites, calling you to shatter the chains that bind generations. Picture the moment when God's hand reaches through the fog of repetition, pulling you into a destiny of unbreakable freedom. Boldly, the heavens declare that you were woven into existence to disrupt the relentless march of familial pain. As whispers of ancient patterns echo, God's voice thunders, "You are the one I sent to rewrite the story." Envision a lineage of sorrow crumbling under your feet, for God has positioned you as the harbinger of renewal. Poetically, your life unfolds like a tapestry, where each thread of hardship is rewoven into threads of legacy. With unyielding truth, God affirms that no cycle defines you. He sent you to be the catalyst for eternal change. In the quiet storm of your trials, divine purpose emerges, equipping you to break what has long been unbroken. Like a warrior summoned from the ashes, you rise to interrupt the cycles that sought to dim your light. God's eternal plan reveals itself in your story, a bold interruption that turns despair into a foundation for legacy. Reflect on the sacred path laid before you, where every step forward eclipses the shadows of the past. Vividly, imagine the moment of divine collision, where your obedience halts the cycle and ignites a flame of hope. Spiritually, you are the chosen vessel, sent to dismantle barriers and construct a monument of faith. In the heart of repetition's grip, God's light pierces through, declaring your role as the cycle's end. Poetic winds of change sweep across your life, carrying the seeds of legacy that God planted in your soul. Boldly, embrace the truth that your struggles were mere preparation for the interruption only you can bring. As the stars align in heavenly decree, you stand as God's interrupter, ready to forge a new path. Envision the chains dissolving like mist at dawn, for God has ordained you to create what endures. In the depths of inherited burdens, a divine whisper calls, "Rise, for I have sent you to break free." Like a river bursting its banks, your faith overflows, washing away cycles and nourishing a legacy of abundance. God's unwavering truth echoes. You were born to interrupt the familiar pains and pioneer uncharted grace. Vividly, see yourself standing at the crossroads, where God's appointment turns your history into triumph. Poetically, your spirit dances on the ruins of old patterns, composing a symphony of divine legacy. Boldly, the Creator affirms your identity, not a prisoner of cycles, but a liberator sent from above. In the tapestry of time, your thread glows brightest, woven to interrupt and illuminate generations. Reflect on the divine nudge that brought you here, a call to wield the sword of truth against repetition. As shadows flee from the light of your purpose, God reveals you as the architect of enduring change. Envision the moment when cycles shatter and God's plan unfolds, crowning you with the power to create legacy. Spiritually, you are the bridge between brokenness and blessing, sent to connect the past to a glorious future. Like an eagle soaring above storms, you ascend, interrupting cycles with the wings God has given. Boldly declare that God's hand has selected you, not for defeat, but to forge a path of victory. In the quiet revelation of your worth, God's voice resounds. You are my chosen one, breaker of chains. Poetically, your journey mirrors the dawn, dispelling darkness and ushering in the light of legacy. Vividly, picture the divine interruption as a tidal wave, sweeping away old patterns and revealing new shores. God's profound truth stands. You were crafted to halt the cycle and etch your name in the annals of faith. As the winds of destiny shift, you emerge as God's envoy, ready to transform inherited struggles into strength. In the core of your being, a spiritual fire burns, sent to consume cycles and ignite a legacy of fire. Reflect on the sacred truth that every trial was a forge, shaping you for this divine interruption. Boldly, the heavens proclaim your arrival, a soul sent to disrupt and redefine what was meant to be. Envision the chains of repetition falling, as God's purpose elevates you to the realm of legacy builders. Poetically, your life is a verse in God's epic, where interruption leads to verses of triumphant legacy. Like a seed breaking through soil, you rise, interrupting cycles and blooming into God's intended harvest. Spiritually, God's message rings clear. You are the interrupter, designed to create ripples of eternal impact. In the unveiling of divine truth, recognize that God sent you to turn cycles into stepping stones. Vividly, see the moment of breakthrough, where your faith interrupts the old and ushers in the new. Boldly embrace the core revelation. God has equipped you to shatter patterns and build what lasts. As echoes of the past fade, God's voice grows louder, affirming your role in crafting a legacy divine. Poetically, your spirit weaves through time, interrupting the mundane to compose a masterpiece of faith. In the heart of God's plan, you stand as the chosen one, sent to break free and inspire generations. Reflect on the power within you, a divine gift to interrupt cycles and lay foundations of glory. Like a phoenix from ashes, you emerge, God's instrument to end repetition and begin renewal. Boldly, the truth emerges. No cycle can hold you, for God has declared you a creator of legacy. Envision the divine blueprint unfolding, where your interruption becomes the cornerstone of future blessings. Spiritually, you are the key that unlocks chains, sent by God to open doors to abundant life. In the rhythm of life's dance, God's hand guides you to step out of cycles and into legacy. Vividly, picture the transformation as God's light floods your path, turning obstacles into opportunities. Poetically, your story flows like a river to the sea, interrupting droughts and nourishing lands of promise. As the first subpoint ignites, name the cycle boldly, for God empowers you to claim authority over it. In Psalm 139, David's prayer mirrors your call, searching hearts to expose and interrupt hidden patterns. Practically, journal your history's echoes, declaring aloud that God reveals them for your breakthrough. Emotionally, naming the cycle is your courageous stand, transforming defeat into a gateway for victory. As the second subpoint unfolds, embrace God's strength, greater than any inherited chain you face. Ephesians 6:10 urges you to stand in the Lord's power, interrupting what seems unshakable with faith. In daily life, replace old habits with prayer and affirmations, actively breaking the cycle's hold. Deeply, feel the weight lift as God sees your tears, calling you to rise and claim your freedom. For the third subpoint, step into legacy building, for interrupting alone paves the way for action. Proverbs 13:22 declares that your good works leave an inheritance, shaping generations with God's vision. Start small by mentoring and choosing abundance, turning your life into a testament of divine impact. Resonating within, know that your struggles fuel a legacy that smashes cycles and inspires multitudes. In the fourth subpoint, commit to sustaining change, trusting God's timing for lasting transformation. Hebrews 10:36 calls for perseverance, turning your interruption into a fortified legacy of promise. Create a journal to track progress, praying daily to guard against the pull of old patterns. In moments of doubt, remember God's sending. Your faithfulness echoes as hope's triumphant legacy. As mystical signs appear, like dreams of new beginnings, God confirms your role as a cycle breaker. Feel the spiritual atmosphere shift, where chains dissolve and energies align for your divine purpose. Poetically, prophetic winds whisper of opportunities, marking your path as God's interrupter of cycles. Vividly, envision unseen forces gathering, propelling you toward the legacy etched in the stars. Boldly recognize these signs as heavenly endorsements, fueling your journey to create what endures. In the mystical realm, your spirit senses the alignment, interrupting stagnation with waves of grace. Like a compass pointing true north, God's signs guide you to shatter cycles and build legacy. Spiritually, the energy surges as you step forward, a prophetic dance of interruption and renewal. Now take the call to action. Declare your interruption and join the community of legacy creators. Pray for revelation of cycles, affirming God's glory in your life to activate your divine purpose. Boldly comment your commitment, for God is moving. Seize this moment to break free and build. In practical faith, spend time in prayer, letting declarations shatter the remnants of old patterns. Feel the spiritual challenge ignite as you step into actions that forge your eternal legacy. Vividly, imagine the rewards awaiting, where transformed relationships bloom from your interruption. Envision financial stability flowing, as God's promises manifest in your life of abundance. Poetically, your influence spreads like wildfire, impacting generations with the glory of your legacy. Boldly, Isaiah 58:12 promises your role as a restorer, rebuilding ruins into streets of dwelling. In the vision of breakthrough, see open doors and restored bonds, fruits of your courageous stand. Spiritually, generational impact unfolds as your actions echo through time in waves of favor. Reflect on the overflow coming, where cycles end and legacy thrives in God's perfect plan. As future glory beckons, know that your interruption paves the way for eternal rewards. Vividly, picture wealth and wisdom cascading, a testament to the legacy you were sent to create. In closing affirmation, you are God's chosen interrupter, forever rewriting history with faith. Boldly trust in the unchanging promises, for your legacy is already in motion, destined for victory. Poetically, your story concludes as a triumph, where cycles are but footnotes to your glory. Envision the path ahead, empowered by God's hand, interrupting and creating with unwavering strength. Spiritually, reflect on your divine identity, a beacon breaking chains and illuminating legacy. As doubts fade, embrace the truth. You were sent for this, and victory is your inheritance. In the final whisper of encouragement, God's plan unfolds perfectly through your faithful steps. Boldly stand firm in your calling, for the cycles are interrupted and your legacy endures. Poetically, your journey ends not in silence, but in the roar of a legacy that echoes eternally. With divine assurance, move forward, knowing God has equipped you to interrupt and create forever. In the shadows of inherited struggles, a divine spark ignites within you, marking the beginning of your mission to shatter generational chains. Like a warrior summoned from the depths, God has positioned you as the breaker, ready to dismantle cycles of defeat and forge an enduring legacy. Amidst the echoes of past failures, a heavenly whisper declares your arrival as the interrupter, transforming pain into a foundation for greatness. Picture the ancient patterns crumbling like old walls, as God's hand guides you to rewrite history with threads of hope and triumph. In the tapestry of your life, God weaves a new design, selecting you to interrupt the familiar darkness and illuminate a path of legacy. Boldly, you stand as God's envoy, equipped to sever the ties of stagnation and plant seeds that bloom into generations of freedom. Through the storm of repeated setbacks, a celestial light breaks forth, affirming your role as the one sent to create an unbreakable legacy. As dawn pierces the night, so does your spirit rise, divinely appointed to halt the cycle and etch a story of victory in the stars. In poetic rhythm, your journey unfolds as a symphony of redemption, where God orchestrates your steps to interrupt despair and compose a legacy of joy. With unyielding resolve, God declares you the catalyst, chosen to break the mold and construct a monument of faith that stands eternal. Imagine the weight of old burdens lifting, as divine intervention propels you forward to interrupt cycles and build a legacy of abundance. Like a river altering its course, your life redirects under God's guidance, interrupting stagnation to flow into a vast sea of legacy. In the quiet revelation of your soul, God unveils your purpose: to storm the gates of repetition and establish a throne of enduring influence. Poetically, your heart beats with heavenly rhythm, pulsing as the interrupter who turns ashes into a garden of generational blessings. Boldly proclaimed from the heavens, you are the architect of change, sent to dismantle cycles and raise pillars of legacy in their place. Within you resides a divine essence, affirming your identity as the one chosen to break free from shadows and illuminate a path of legacy. Like a phoenix rising from embers, God molds you into the interrupter, transforming trials into the raw material of an eternal heritage. In the mirror of self-reflection, a sacred truth emerges. You are God's masterpiece, designed to halt destructive patterns and craft a legacy of light. As whispers of doubt fade, a bold declaration resounds. You are the heir of promise, sent to interrupt cycles and inherit realms of glory. Poetically intertwined with destiny, your story arcs toward triumph, where God affirms your role as the breaker and builder of legacies. In vivid strokes, envision your spirit as a beacon, divinely affirmed to pierce through cycles and guide others into a dawn of renewal. With heavenly authority, God stamps your identity as the cycle shatterer, empowering you to rise above inherited limitations and forge ahead. Like ancient prophecies fulfilled, your life echoes the call. You are selected to interrupt the mundane and etch a legacy in the annals of time. In the depths of your being, a poetic fire burns, affirming that God has sculpted you to end repetitions and spark a chain of blessings. Boldly, the Creator declares your worth. You are the interrupter, fashioned to dismantle barriers and construct a fortress of generational faith. As layers of past wounds unravel, God's affirmation shines. You are the chosen vessel, sent to break cycles and pour out a legacy of healing. In storytelling splendor, your narrative shifts from victim to victor, as divine identity awakens you to interrupt and innovate for eternity. Poetically, your soul dances in the light of purpose, affirmed as the one God sends to halt the wheel of despair and spin threads of legacy. With unshakable truth, you embody the divine plan, interrupter of chains, creator of paths, and architect of a heritage that echoes forever. In bold revelation, God whispers your name among the stars. You are the destined one, called to shatter cycles and illuminate legacies. At the core of existence, a profound truth emerges. God has dispatched you to actively dismantle destructive patterns and erect a monument of legacy. Like a key turning in an ancient lock, this revelation unlocks your potential to interrupt stagnation and unlock doors to eternal impact. In poetic essence, your life becomes a verse of transformation, where God's truth rewrites the script of cycles into a saga of triumphant legacy. Boldly stated, the divine mandate is clear. You are sent to confront and conquer repetitions, paving the way for a heritage of divine favor. As shadows flee before the dawn, God's truth illuminates. You are the agent of change, interrupting the old to welcome waves of new creation. In vivid narrative, envision the cycles as fading echoes, while God's purpose propels you to build a legacy that resonates through ages. Poetically, your spirit aligns with heavenly rhythms, embracing the truth that interruption leads to legacy, as ordained from the beginning. With unwavering certainty, God's word affirms, You are equipped to break the chains and construct a foundation for generations to thrive. In the theater of life, you take center stage as the protagonist, divinely scripted to halt cycles and direct a play of enduring influence. Boldly, the heavens proclaim, your mission is to interrupt the familiar and innovate a legacy that outshines the stars. Like a sculptor chiseling marble, God's truth shapes you to remove the excess of cycles and reveal a masterpiece of legacy. In poetic reflection, your journey mirrors the phoenix, rising from cycles' ashes to soar into the skies of a divinely crafted heritage. As truth unfolds, you grasp the essence. Interruption is not an end, but the gateway to creating a legacy that echoes God's glory. With bold strokes of destiny, God paints your path, from cycle-bound to legacy-bearer, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. In sacred storytelling, your story bends toward victory, as God's truth empowers you to interrupt and author a narrative of eternal worth. First, identify the cycle as your gateway to freedom, naming it aloud to claim the authority God has vested in you. Like a detective uncovering hidden clues, begin by examining patterns in your life, for God reveals them as steps toward liberation. In poetic introspection, let your heart search the depths, identifying cycles as mere shadows that God's light will dispel for your legacy. Boldly declare the cycles exposed, for in Psalm 139, David's prayer models the wisdom of self-examination as the path to breakthrough. As you journal your history, watch God transform recognition into power, interrupting repetitions to pave the way for generational triumph. In vivid detail, picture yourself standing firm, identifying the cycle not as defeat, but as the courageous first act in your legacy story. Poetically, naming the cycle is like whispering to the wind, where God catches your words and turns them into winds of change. With divine insight, embrace this step, identify and claim, for it is the foundation upon which your interrupting mission is built. Like a warrior scouting the battlefield, God equips you to spot cycles, ensuring your legacy begins with clear-eyed determination. In bold affirmation, this identification is your shield, drawn from biblical wisdom to guard against the snares that seek to bind you. As emotional weights lift through recognition, God's promise in Psalm echoes. This is your step toward a legacy of unyielding victory. Poetically, let identification be the melody that harmonizes your soul, preparing the symphony of interruption and legacy creation. Second, embrace divine strength to shatter the cycle, tapping into God's mighty power that resides within you like an unstoppable force. Like a river bursting its banks, God's strength flows through you, breaking inherited chains and flooding your path with legacy potential. In poetic power, feel the surge of Ephesians 6:10, where being strong in the Lord becomes your anthem for cycle interruption. Boldly step into this truth. God's power eclipses all cycles, empowering you to replace old habits with actions of faith and renewal. As you pray daily, watch the chains dissolve, for divine strength turns your struggles into stepping stones toward an enduring heritage. In vivid storytelling, envision your spirit as a fortress, fortified by God's might to withstand and overcome generational patterns. Poetically, your tears of pain become rivers of strength, as God declares you the breaker, rising to create a legacy of hope. With unwavering resolve, activate this strength. It's greater than any cycle, as promised in Scripture, propelling you to victory. Like armor donned for battle, embrace God's power to interrupt, ensuring your legacy is not just a dream, but a divine reality. In bold declaration, you are not alone. God's strength is your ally, shattering what once seemed unbreakable for generations to come. Third, build your legacy through intentional actions, stepping beyond interruption to live out God's vision with purposeful resolve. Like a builder laying bricks, begin small acts of faith, as Proverbs 13:22 inspires, leaving an inheritance that spans time. In poetic creation, your daily choices weave a tapestry of legacy, where mentoring and projects honor God and inspire others. Boldly commit to actions that reflect abundance, turning from scarcity to sow seeds that blossom into a heritage of plenty. As you mentor in your family, feel the shift. Your intentional steps interrupt cycles and erect monuments of faith for the future. In vivid narrative, picture your life as a garden, where intentional actions plant trees whose fruits feed generations with God's wisdom. Poetically, each choice is a note in your symphony, composing a legacy that resonates with triumph and divine purpose. With bold vision, embrace this building phase. It's not mere survival, but the crafting of a legacy that smashes cycles forever. In the mystical realm, prophetic signs emerge, like dreams of renewal signaling God's confirmation of your role as a cycle breaker. Like whispers from the ether, these signs align unseen forces, guiding you toward the legacy God has etched in the stars. Poetically, feel the spiritual atmosphere shift, as chains dissolve and doors swing open, ushering in your destined heritage. In bold prophecy, recurring opportunities arise, divine nudges affirming that you are the one sent to interrupt and create anew. As energy surges around you, envision the mystical dance of heaven and earth, weaving your path to a legacy of eternal impact. Like ancient symbols awakening, God's signs illuminate your journey, marking you as the interrupter in a tapestry of spiritual truth. In poetic reflection, the unseen becomes visible, with energy shifts propelling you from cycles to the heights of legacy building. Boldly, these prophetic elements are God's language, speaking directly to your spirit and confirming your mission's divine origin. As mystical forces converge, feel the empowerment. You are aligned with heaven's purpose, interrupting stagnation for a glorious heritage. In vivid storytelling, the prophetic wind blows, carrying signs that validate your steps toward breaking cycles and forging legacy. Now take the leap. Comment "I'm interrupting the cycle" to join a community of legacy creators and activate God's movement in your life. Like a spark igniting a flame, pray for 5 minutes, asking God to reveal cycles and declare your role in building an eternal legacy. In bold challenge, step into action. Let your faith drive you to interrupt patterns and construct a heritage that glorifies God. Poetically, let your declaration be a battle cry, rallying spiritual forces to support your journey from interruption to legacy. As you engage in this call, feel the divine response. Your obedience unlocks doors and propels you toward triumphant fulfillment. In vivid urgency, don't delay, pray and declare. For this is the moment God uses to transform your story into one of lasting impact. Boldly commit to these steps. They are the bridge from awareness to action, securing your place as a cycle breaker and legacy maker. Like seeds planted in fertile soil, your spiritual actions will grow, interrupting cycles and harvesting a bounty of divine rewards. In poetic resolve, let your voice rise in prayer, echoing through the heavens and solidifying your mission with unwavering faith. With immediate intent, embrace this call. It's the key that turns revelation into reality, forging your path to generational glory. Envision a future where your family thrives free from burdens, with wealth and wisdom flowing as rewards for your courageous interruption. Like a sunrise banishing night, your breakthrough illuminates restored relationships and open doors, painting a legacy of abundance. In poetic glory, imagine the echoes of your actions resonating through time, as Isaiah 58:12 promises you as the restorer of paths. Boldly, the rewards await: financial stability and spiritual influence, born from interrupting cycles and building God's vision. As generational chains shatter, picture your life overflowing with favor, a testament to the legacy you've courageously created. In vivid detail, see doors swinging wide to opportunities, relationships mended, and a heritage that stands as a beacon of hope. Poetically, your breakthrough is a river of blessings, flowing from your obedience and watering the fields of future generations. With divine affirmation, these rewards are yours. A life of overflow, where interrupting cycles yields eternal impact and joy. In bold prophecy, the future glory unfolds, with your legacy as a repaired wall, strong and unyielding against any storm. Finally, rest in this truth. You are God's chosen interrupter, and as you trust His plan, your legacy blossoms into a symphony of victory.